Hello and welcome to ThomasGeigerCar. Today with the new Mini Countryman. I'm on a test track in Austria presenting you kind of big news, and for this time you can take it literally. Not only that Mini is breaking the silence, and after long years of quiet production they're having some new cars on the pipeline. No, they're presenting the biggest Mini ever made, because the Countryman moves up half a segment, stretching to 4 meters and 40, making room for another model in between. Still camouflaged, still a prototype, still only a passenger ride, because the world premiere is set to the Munich Auto Show this September, market launch shortly after, beginning next year. But if you want to know what to expect from that vehicle and get the first details, join me on my ride and I'll tell you more about it. So let's hop in and go for a short spin. So come on, join me, I'll take a ride and I'll tell you more about it. In this case, it's only the passenger seat that I'm allowed to take. Driver is Simon Kruger. He is in charge for the setup of the vehicle, for the driving experience, for the driving fun, for the driving dynamics. And this is especially important with this vehicle, because this vehicle is not based on a true Mini architecture. It's using a company platform that is sharing its components with the BMW X1 and the BMW Active Tourer. And to make certain and sure this vehicle feels like a Mini means giving it a different setup for the suspension, for the steering and for the drivetrain. The drivetrain in this case is 2 options: one front motor with 140 kilowatt or 2 motors and all-wheel drive with 200 kilowatts. The battery is always the same, 64 kilowatt hours, translating into ranges up to 440 kilometers for the front-wheel drive version and 420 kilometers for the all-wheel drive version. And you can charge the battery with 170 kilowatts. A bit better than with the smaller Mini versions. Still not the most competitive charging speed, but hey, we're talking about a mid-segment car, so that should be feasible as well. The big difference to all the other Minis is the roominess of the Countryman. It always was the biggest Mini, it grew even more, so now it's a proper 5-seater, and that is something that Mr. Kruger had in mind when he set up the vehicle. It should be a bit more agile and a bit more aggressive, sporty, fun to drive than the BMW models, but it is still a family car, so it's not the toughest, not the hardest Mini you can get. If you want to have driving fun for yourself, go for the Cooper, or better, the Cooper Works. It's still half a year ahead of the world premiere at the IAA in Munich, and for that reason BMW and Mini are still pretty picky when it comes to the details. Yes, they're telling us a few facts and figures, they're giving us a first impression. We can even sit inside the vehicle and take a passenger drive. We can't show it, that's a bit of a pity. But I'm allowed to look underneath, and it doesn't take much fantasy to imagine how it looks like. No, these fancy seat covers are not standard, but there is something new underneath them as well. Mini is going vegan, or at least animal free, so you don't have any animal materials, no leather anymore. A bit of a tough job for a premium brand and a car that always considers itself a top notch in the segment. So now you have to learn recycled plastic is the new premium, linen, wool and all that stuff, not leather anymore. If it comes to the instruments, it is Mini as we know it, just with a new twist and more new technology. A very handy steering wheel, a little smaller than before, and for sure we still have that pancake-shaped display in the center, which now is a touchscreen full circle. Sorry I can't show you, but if I peek underneath, it has a huge size, it has fancy graphics, and we still have the toggle switches underneath. They are also a bit new, different functions, different shape, but it's still toggling with the car as you did it since you know the new Minis. Another thing that is missing in the car is not only the leather, it's also the display behind the steering wheel. There is just no cluster instrument anymore. All the information has been moved towards the center console, or if you opt for it, towards the head-up display. Welcome to a comfy backseat in a Mini. I would never had imagined that I would say something like that once, but since the new Countryman is the biggest Mini in history with a length of 4.40 meters and a wheelbase of almost 2.70 meters, that's really a comfortable 5-seater, or let's say 4-seater. If you are still young at heart but have a big family by now and still addicted to Mini, this might be the body type of your choice. You have ample space on the rear seat and you have a huge luggage compartment with more than 400 liters of capacity, enough to go on a long vacation trip, to do huge shopping or to haul your gear to the gym. There is one detail I really want to show you that made me wonder. They had a lot of attention to the detail, they had lots of fancy ideas, but at that point they overdid it. This is the new key to the new Mini. And yes, the Countryman might be the biggest Mini ever, but this key fob is just too big, and the only Mini in this thing is the Mini sign on the back. Thanks for joining me on that first passenger ride in the new Mini Countryman, a car with big size and big ambitions. Since it's the most versatile Mini ever and it's an electric vehicle, it has the chance to become the biggest selling model as well. And seeing it from the passenger side, it still fulfills most of the Mini promises. It's looking cute, it has a fancy interior with a fancy UI, and it should drive a bit more agile and a bit more fun than the BMW models. So well done, and if you're not too much into EV, not a problem at all. This Mini will also be the one with the widest range of powertrains. The 2 electric drivetrains, petrol drivetrains, and the only Mini still offered with a diesel.